Have you ever helped build a dream, and then been treated as if you weren't part of it? Donna Elsa is sitting alone. Table 17. Way in the back of the hall. The place where nobody sees, nobody notices, nobody remembers that people exist. The lights flash above the dance floor, where her son Raphael twirls his bride in his arms, smiling, in love, radiant. The guests laugh loudly, toasting with crystal glasses that reflect the golden lights of the central chandelier. The music is loud, cheerful, contagious. But Donna Elsa doesn't smile. She observes everything from there, from afar, like a spectator of her own life, like someone who bought the most expensive movie ticket but was placed in the last row, behind a pillar, where the screen is barely visible and the sound is muffled. Her trembling hand holds a crumpled napkin. Her eyes are moist, but she doesn't let a single tear fall. Not here, not now, not in front of everyone. Because she has learned, over 60 years of life, that certain pains need to be cried in silence, away from the spotlight, hidden under the pillow when night falls and no one is watching. Just a few hours earlier, something had happened. Something that had broken her heart in two with the precision of a sharp blade. Her daughter-in-law Camila, the woman who now dances with her son, as if she were the queen of the universe, humiliated her. In front of the perfumed and made-up bridesmaids. In front of the photographers who captured every smile, every hug, every moment. In front of people she had never seen in her life, and probably would never see again. And Raphael, her boy, her only son, the one she carried in her womb, cradled in her arms, fed with her own milk, remained silent. He lowered his head as if shrinking from a storm. And he didn't say a single word in defense of his mother. But nobody there knows one detail. A small detail in the eyes of others, but gigantic in Donna Elsa's soul. A detail that changes everything. Every flower that adorns that table. Every glass that shines under the light like a diamond. Every dish served with care. Every note of the live music that echoes through the walls. Every second of that perfect, dazzling, unforgettable party was paid for by her. By Donna Elsa, the invisible woman at table 17. The forgotten woman. The woman who should be at the main table, but is where they put the things that don't matter. She keeps this secret close to her heart. Not because she wants to be recognized with applause and emotional speeches. Not because she expects public thanks or surprise tributes. But because, deep in her tired and generous soul, she simply wanted to be near. She wanted to be seen. She wanted to be remembered on the most important day of her son's life. She wanted to feel that she still had value. That she still belonged to that story. She didn't want revenge. She never did. But fate sometimes has its own way of delivering justice. Donna Elsa had always been a simple woman. Her hands were calloused from hard work. Her back was bent from years of carrying heavy bags, buckets of water, and dreams that weighed more than anything else. Widowed since 42, she raised Raphael alone. Without help from relatives. Without a decent pension, only those miserable coins that barely paid the electricity bill at the end of the month. No luxury, no time off, no rest, no vacations, no day off to rest her body that could no longer endure so much. She worked as a cleaner in the homes of rich people, cleaning marble bathrooms while her own were made of cracked tiles. She worked as a cook in a buffet restaurant, preparing lunch for hundreds of people. But at home sometimes there was only rice and eggs to put on her son's plate. She worked as an ironer, standing for hours with a hot iron in her hand, smoothing executive shirts, while her own blouses had stains that wouldn't come out. She made cakes to sell at the school gate. She would get up at 4 in the morning to knead the dough, bake, fill, and decorate. And when the alarm clock rang at that absurd hour, she didn't complain. She didn't curse. She got up, washed her face with cold water to shake off the sleepiness, and went to work. Because she had a son to raise, a boy who depended on her. She sewed dish towels in the early hours of the morning, while the city slept, and she embroidered flowers with colorful thread, stitch by stitch, until her fingers ached and her eyes burned from so much effort. All this so that the boy would have a different future than hers. So that he wouldn't have to bend over backward, humiliate himself, and work 3 jobs just to survive. And Raphael was always affectionate. Ever since he was little, he would hug his mother every night before bed, squeezing her tightly, as if he wanted to protect her from all the dangers of the world. He would say "I love you, Mom," without shame, even when his school friends teased him, calling him mother hen, and laughing with that typical childlike cruelty. But he didn't care. He kept saying it. He kept hugging. On her birthdays, when he didn't have money for a present, he would draw cards with colored markers, making crooked flowers, disproportionate hearts, blue clouds, and a huge yellow sun in the corner of the page. And he always ended with the same phrase written in that beautiful, irregular, childlike handwriting. "One day, Mom, I'll make you proud." She kept all those cards in an old shoebox under her bed. Birthday cards, Mother's Day cards, Christmas cards, cards for any date he invented as an excuse to do something for her. And whenever exhaustion hit her too hard, when her body felt like giving up, when she just wanted to lie down and never get up again, she would open that dusty box and read them again, one by one. Slowly, she remembered her son's toothless smile at 6 years old, his high-pitched voice promising a better future, his little hands stained with colored paint, and that made her get up the next day. Once again, another shift, another battle. Because a mother doesn't give up, a mother endures. A mother goes as far as her body allows and then goes a little further. Raphael grew up, and he grew up well. He studied diligently, was always a good student, got high grades, and earned praise from his teachers. He graduated in business administration from a public university, using public transportation and bringing his own lunch, but he graduated. He got a good job at a logistics company, started earning reasonably well, bought new clothes, a better cell phone, and began to have a life that Donna Elsa never had. And she was happy seeing that. She saw her son prospering, and her heart filled with gratitude. It was worth it, she thought. Every sleepless night, every backache, every hidden tear. It was worth it. And then, Raphael met Camila. At first, Elsa was genuinely happy. After all, what mother doesn't want to see her child loving and being loved? What mother doesn't dream of seeing her child find someone special, build a family, be happy? Camila was beautiful. That was undeniable. Tall, thin, with straight, shiny hair and flawless skin. She was polite when she spoke, used beautiful words, spoke grammatically without errors, and had the air of someone who had studied at a good school. Always smelling good, wearing imported perfumes that left a trail when she passed by. She spoke well, gestured elegantly, and had the posture of someone raised in another world. She worked as a marketing manager at a large company, earned well, had a career, and was ambitious. She wore designer clothes not from cheap shopping malls, but from those stores with French or Italian names where a dress cost what Donna Elsa earned in an entire month. Her nails were always manicured, painted in fashionable colors, and perfectly decorated. Her hair was impeccable, cut at an expensive salon, and treated with products she had never heard of. In the eyes of society, in the eyes of those who judge by what they see on the outside, it was a good choice, an excellent choice. But Elsa, with the wisdom that only those who have lived long and suffered much possess, began to notice small things. Subtle details that other people wouldn't notice, but that a mother always perceives. The way Camila looked at her house when Raphael took her to visit, a quick glance, but full of poorly disguised contempt, like someone looking at something dirty and wishing they hadn't seen it. The tone of voice she used when speaking to her, always polite, always within the norms of good manners, but cold as ice, distant as a star, without human warmth, without true affection. The way she avoided hugs, subtly turning her body away when Donna Elsa opened her arms, as if she were afraid of being contaminated by that simplicity. How she refused the coffee that Elsa offered with so much affection, always with a ready excuse. "Oh, thank you, but I don't drink coffee after 5, or I'm avoiding caffeine," or any other polite justification that sounded like rejection. And, most importantly, the way Raphael changed. Gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, but then becoming increasingly obvious. He started visiting his mother less. If before he went every week, He started going every 2 weeks, then monthly, then only when she insisted a lot. He called less. If before he called every day, just to see how she was doing, he started calling only on weekends. Then only once a week. Then only when he had some important message to give. When he went to his mother's house, he stayed for a short time. He no longer sat down to talk for hours like before. He looked at his cell phone all the time, answering messages, checking social media, clearly anxious to leave. And he was always in a hurry to leave. "Oh Mom, Camila is waiting for me in the car. I have to go. We made an appointment. Let's leave it for next time, okay?" Camila never went inside the house. She stayed in the car, waiting, fiddling with her cell phone, as if Donna Elza's house were contagious, as if going in there could somehow taint her, contaminate her with that poverty. And Raphael, who had previously insisted that his girlfriend get to know her mother better, began to accept it naturally. He stopped insisting. He stopped trying. Even so, Elza swallowed the pain. She swallowed it as she always swallowed everything in life, with effort, with hidden tears, but she swallowed it. And when Raphael announced their engagement, at a Sunday lunch where he seemed nervous and Camila smiled with that magazine-worthy smile, she smiled too. She hugged her son tightly, and said she was happy, because she was. Despite everything. Despite feeling like she was losing him. Because that's what a mother's love is. Celebrating her child's happiness, even when it hurts you. Even when every hug he gives to someone else feels like a piece of your heart is being ripped away. And it was then that Raphael, visibly embarrassed, unable to look his mother in the eye, sat down at the kitchen table with her one afternoon and said in a low voice, "Mom, we're having trouble paying for the wedding. What we've saved isn't enough. Camila wanted a big party, you know? She's dreamed of it her whole life. A good buffet, beautiful decorations, a live band, everything top-notch. But the budget is tight and I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to give her the wedding she deserves." Elza didn't think twice. He didn't hesitate for a second. He went to the room with determined steps. He opened the drawer of the old dresser, the one that creaked when he pulled it. He took out a biscuit tin, rusty at the edges. Inside envelopes. Several, yellowed with age, crumpled at the edges from being handled so much. Some with notes from herself, electricity market, blood pressure medication. But most had only one word, written in her simple, honest handwriting, Raphael. She had been saving money for years, ever since her son was little. She saved coin by coin, bill by bill. Every penny that was left over, and there was so little left over, went into that tin. Not for herself. It was never for her. She never bought anything for herself with that money. She never took it out for a trip, to buy new clothes, to go to the salon to get her hair done. It was for her son's future. For his wedding. For the party he deserved. Because a mother dreams of her son's wedding day from the moment he is born. With tears in her eyes and trembling hands, she placed the envelopes on the table, one by one, like someone laying out the most important cards in a game. "Here, son, this is for you, for your wedding, for your dream, for you to start your life with the woman you love." Raphael looked at those envelopes. He opened one. He saw 10, 20, and $50 bills. He opened another. More bills. He opened another. And he began to cry. He hugged his mother there, sitting in that old kitchen chair, and cried like he hadn't cried since he was a child. And at that moment, Donna Elza, with her son in her arms, believed that everything would be worth it. The preparations began with enthusiasm, and Donna Elza wanted to participate in everything. How could she not? It was her son's wedding, her only son, the boy she raised alone, for whom she sacrificed so much. She imagined how wonderful it would be to be there, side by side with him and the bride, helping with the choices, giving her opinion on flowers and food, building together that special day that would be etched in everyone's memory. She fantasized about those moments of complicity, shared laughter, and sincere embraces. She offered to help choose the wedding flowers. She went with Raphael and Camila to the most beautiful flower shop in town, the one with a garden out front, and the scent of spring all the time. She pointed with genuine enthusiasm to some huge, beautiful, fragrant arrangements of white lilies, and said, excited like a child, "These are beautiful, aren't they? Imagine this on the tables, Raphael. It'll be a dream." Camilla glanced sideways, in her usual evaluative and cold way, and replied with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "That color is too simple, Mrs. Elsa. We want something more sophisticated, something that will impress the guests, you know, imported roses, perhaps, orchids. Something different." And she turned her back, walking towards the premium flower section. Raphael was visibly embarrassed. He looked at his mother with that expression of silent apology and gave a weak smile. One of those smiles that try to soften a bad situation but only make it worse. He said nothing. He didn't defend his mother's choice. He didn't say, "I liked the lilies, let's take these." He simply followed Camilla to another corner of the store, like an obedient puppy following its owner. Once again, Donna Elsa suggested a catering place she knew. Homemade, flavorful food, made with love, the kind of food that warms the soul and reminds you of your grandmother's cooking. The owner was a kind gentleman who made the best stroganoff she had ever tasted. Camilla wrinkled her nose in obvious disgust and said bluntly, "A neighborhood catering place, Donna Elsa. Seriously, we need something more refined, with a name in the market, you know. A catering place that has catered weddings for important people. I can't risk my wedding's reputation with some homemade food." And the subject died. They're buried, forgotten. Gradually Elsa painfully realized that she was not welcome in the decision-making process. Her ideas were systematically ignored, discarded without real consideration. Her suggestions were met with condescending smiles, and then forgotten seconds later. Her attempts to help were seen as inconvenient intrusions from someone who didn't understand good taste, who lacked class, who didn't know how things should be done at real weddings. On a rainy afternoon, she brought brigadeiros she had made at home especially for the couple to try. She spent the whole morning making them, carefully rolling each brigadeiro and placing them in colorful paper cups. Raphael ate 3 right away, exclaiming enthusiastically, "It's delicious, Mom." As always, Camilla picked one up, looked at it suspiciously, took a small bite, chewed slowly as if evaluating it, and said indifferently, "Oh, it's too sweet for my taste, too heavy. But thank you for the intention, you know." And she left the rest on the plate, pushing it away. Donna Elsa felt a lump growing in her throat, that sensation of choking on her own emotions. But she swallowed again. She smiled, and she went home with the tray still full of brigadeiros that nobody wanted. She began to feel, with a certainty that ached in her chest, that she no longer belonged within her own family. The weeks passed at an agonizing speed, and the wedding kept getting bigger, more luxurious, more grandiose, more expensive, and further away from her. Raphael tried to mediate when the situation became too obvious, trying to soften things. He would say phrases that seemed rehearsed. "Mom, Camilla is nervous about the preparations. You know how it is. Brides get stressed. Don't take it to heart. She didn't mean to offend you." But Elsa saw the truth behind the words. She saw that her son was torn between 2 women, 2 worlds, 2 versions of himself, and that, in the end, he always chose to please his fiancée. He always gave in. He always bowed his head. She didn't blame Raphael entirely. She tried to understand. She tried to be rational. After all, a son's love is different from a mother's love. Her love was unconditional, absolute, incapable of diminishing no matter what happened. His, now, needed to be divided, shared, distributed between the mother who raised him and the woman he chose to spend the rest of his life with. And she tried to understand that. She tried to accept it. She tried to come to terms with it. But it hurt. It hurt deeply. It hurt to see that she, who had given absolutely everything, who had sacrificed her own life, her own dreams, her own happiness, had no real place in the choices. It hurt to be tolerated instead of included. It hurt to realize that her presence was endured out of politeness, not desired with affection. It hurt to feel that she was becoming a burden, a nuisance, A social obligation that needs to be fulfilled but without enthusiasm. Even so, she remained strong. She kept smiling even when the smile hurt her face. She continued being a mother. Because being a mother isn't a one-time choice. It's a choice you make every day, every hour, every minute. Because that's what mothers do. They stay. Even when there's no place for them. Even when they're pushed aside. Even when they're forgotten. They stay. Because giving up was never an option. With exactly 1 week to go before the wedding, Raphael took his mother to a clothing store to choose her dress for the big day. She wanted something beautiful, elegant, that would make her feel special, but within her very tight budget. After all, she had already spent almost everything on the party. There was almost nothing left for herself. She chose a simple, discreet navy blue dress, without glitter or embroidery, but elegant in her own way, in her own style. A dress that didn't attract attention, but also didn't embarrass her. Raphael looked at her with genuine affection in his eyes, a glimpse of the boy he once wasn't. Whispered, "You'll be beautiful, Mom. The most beautiful mother at the wedding." She smiled, and a stubborn tear escaped without permission, and she thought silently, "It doesn't matter what dress I wear, son. It doesn't matter if I'm pretty or ugly. What matters is seeing him happy. Seeing you fulfilled. Seeing you smiling. That's all I've ever wanted." The night before the wedding, Donna Elsa spent hours wide awake, lying in bed, staring at the cracked ceiling, counting the damp patches, thinking about everything. About the husband who was no longer there to see their son grow up, graduate, become successful, and get married. About the endless years of sacrifice, hard work, back pain, bruised hands, and sleepless nights. About the dreams she gave up so that Raphael could dream big, dream without limits. And about a phrase her son used to say when he was just a little boy of 6, looking at her with those innocent eyes. "One day, Mom, I'm going to make you proud," and she murmured, alone there in the darkness of the room, so no one could hear, "You've already given me so much, my son, you've already given me so much. Just by existing. Just by being alive, healthy, happy. You've already given me everything. You are already my greatest pride." But deep down, a part of her felt fear. An irrational but real fear. Fear that, on that very special day, a day that should have been one of celebration and joy, she would be just a forgotten shadow. An unimportant detail. A footnote in her own son's story. Someone who was there, but whom no one noticed. She closed her tired eyes, and prayed that, the next day, everything would be beautiful. That everything would turn out perfectly. And that she could, at least, be near her son. That's all. Just near. The day arrived with an impeccable blue sky. The hall was dazzling, exceeding even the most optimistic expectations. Golden lights hung from the soaring ceiling like captured stars brought to earth. Fragrant white and delicate pink flowers covered each table, each corner, each space like gently resting spring clouds. The marble floor shone like a mirror, reflecting the lights and creating a magical effect. Live music filled the room with soft, romantic melodies. Everything was absolutely perfect. Impeccable, luxurious, worthy of a wedding magazine. Exactly as Camilla had dreamed since she was a child. Donna Elsa entered the room with her heart racing, pounding in her chest. She wore the navy blue dress she had chosen with such care. She had meticulously combed her gray hair, tying it in a simple but neat bun. She applied a discreet light pink lipstick. She put on the only good pair of earrings she owned, the ones her husband had given her as a gift 20 years ago. She looked beautiful, in her own way. Simple as always, but dignified, presentable, well-dressed. She searched for her son with anxious eyes. He was there, at the altar set up at the back of the hall, nervous, repeatedly adjusting his tie, straightening his jacket, running his hand through his hair. When he saw her enter, he smiled. A broad, genuine smile, a son's smile for his mother. And that simple smile filled her heart with renewed hope. Maybe everything will be all right, she thought. Maybe today will be a beautiful day. Maybe I'm worrying for nothing. The guests began to arrive in great numbers. Extremely elegant people, expensive suits, designer dresses, imported shoes, clothes that cost more than Donna Elsa's annual salary. Imported French perfumes wafted through the air. Lively and loud conversations about international travel, stock market investments, promotions in multinational companies. Donna Elsa felt visibly out of place among those people, like someone who had entered the wrong party by mistake. But she didn't care much. She was there for her son, for love, and that was enough, or should have been enough. Then, with pomp and circumstance, Camila entered, radiant like a movie star. An absolutely stunning white dress, covered in jewels that sparkled under the lights. A 3-meter-long veil trailing on the floor. Perfect makeup done by a renowned professional. A studied and perfect smile. Everyone present turned simultaneously to look impressed, amazed. And she walked slowly to the altar like a true fairy tale princess, savoring every second of attention. The ceremony was beautiful, cinematic. Vows were exchanged with emotion and tears. Eternal promises were made under the gaze of God and witnesses. Sincere tears were shed, even Camila cried. And when the judge solemnly said, "You may kiss the bride," the entire hall applauded enthusiastically. Donna Elsa felt her eyes welling up uncontrollably. Her boy was married, he was happy, he was building his own family, and that for her was everything. It was the purpose of her life. To see him fulfilled. After the moving ceremony, everyone moved en masse to the adjoining ballroom. The tables were decorated with absurd refinement, worthy of a celebrity wedding. Each place setting had a personalized placecard with the guests' names written in elegant calligraphy. Donna Elsa anxiously searched for hers. She walked between the tables looking. Table 1, Table 2, Table 3, Table 4, but she couldn't find it. She continued searching with growing concern. Table 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where was her name? She kept walking until, way in the very back of the hall, almost hidden behind an oversized flower arrangement, she finally saw Elsa Santos' Table 17. Table 17. The last table, the furthest away of all. The one strategically placed far from everything and everyone. Where the live music was muffled by the distance. Where the stage could barely be seen. Where nobody could see anybody. The table where they put people who need to be present out of social obligation, but whom nobody really wants around. She swallowed hard, feeling her throat tighten, but she forced a smile. It's okay, she thought, trying to convince herself. It doesn't matter where I sit. What matters is being here, present, participating. Seeing my son happy. So, before resignedly sitting down at that distant table, she made a decision. She decided to greet the bride personally. After all, it was basic manners. It was kindness. It was the right thing to do. She was her daughter-in-law now, part of the family. She walked slowly but purposefully to where Camila was, surrounded by her perfumed bridesmaids, laughing loudly, taking selfies, adjusting her $1 million dress, posing for professional photographers. "Camila, darling," said Donna Elsa, with a shy but sincere smile, trying to sound casual. "You look absolutely beautiful. May God bless you both. May you be very happy together." Camila turned slowly. She looked her mother-in-law up and down, assessing, judging. The radiant smile on her face vanished instantly, as if by magic. Then it returned, but completely different, cold as Arctic ice, sharp as a razor blade, artificial as a plastic flower. "Thank you, Mrs. Elsa," she said in a tone that absolutely everyone around heard perfectly. "But please, avoid lingering around here in front. The photographers are taking important photos of the bridesmaids and the main guests, you know, of the people who really matter at the wedding. It's better if you go to the back, where you belong, near the buffet. It's quieter and more appropriate there. You'll feel more comfortable there." The silence that followed was deafening. So profound it seemed to suck the air from the room. The bridesmaids exchanged shocked glances. One of them widened her eyes absurdly. Another covered her mouth with her hand, trying to disguise a nervous laugh that threatened to escape. The photographers pretended to be extremely busy adjusting lenses and fiddling with cameras. But everyone had heard. Everyone. Donna Elsa felt the ground literally disappear beneath her feet. Her heart pounded violently in her chest, beating so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Her hands instantly froze, trembling and cold as ice. Her stomach churned, forming a knot. She looked desperately around, searching for her son with pleading eyes. Raphael was just a few meters away. He had heard everything. She saw it clearly on his face. She saw the absurd embarrassment etched on his face. She saw the shame coloring his cheeks. But he didn't move an inch. He didn't say a single word. He just cowardly looked away, as if pretending not to have seen or heard anything. For an eternity, Donna Elsa thought about answering. She thought about saying something in her defense. She thought about shouting, "I paid for this entire party," but she couldn't. She simply couldn't. The words died in her throat before they were even born. She just nodded slowly, mechanically, and said softly, almost in a hoarse whisper that was barely audible, "It's okay, my love. I just came to see you happy, that's all, just to see you happy." And he turned his back with dignity. She walked to table 17, her legs completely wobbly, trembling, threatening to give up with every step. She sat down alone. The chair was hard, uncomfortable. The tablecloth, impeccably white and ironed. But she didn't see any of that. She didn't see the beautiful decoration. She didn't see the expensive flowers. She didn't see the luxury around her. She only felt the humiliation burning in her chest, like live embers, like a branding iron marking her skin, like poison spreading through her veins. While absolutely everyone was happily toasting, laughing loudly, and dancing enthusiastically, she sat there, alone, completely invisible, totally forgotten. On the most important day of her son's life, she was deliberately placed in the background like trash, hiding from the guests. Hidden like a shameful secret. Treated as if she were a problem, a social nuisance, an embarrassing detail that shouldn't be there but couldn't be expelled for the sake of appearances. And nobody noticed what had happened. Nobody went to her to ask if she was all right. Nobody noticed the tears she was holding back with superhuman strength. Because, after all, who really notices the lonely woman at table 17? The party continued at a frenetic pace, and Donna Elsa remained exactly where she had been placed, alone, just observing from afar. Trying to smile when someone looked in her direction. Trying to endure the pain without completely collapsing. The uniformed waiters elegantly passed by with silver trays full of extremely sophisticated appetizers. Smoked salmon canapes with cream cheese, mini leeked quiches, sun-dried tomato, and arugula bruschetta. Absolutely delicate and expensive things she had never tasted in her entire life. But she didn't take anything. She couldn't eat. She had such a tight knot in her stomach that it left no room for food. Her throat was closed. Swallowing would be impossible. The music was playing incredibly loudly. The live band was truly excellent, professional. Perfect covers of international romantic songs made couples dance closely together on the dance floor, swaying gently. The colorful lights flashed artistically in perfect sync with the beat. The overall atmosphere was one of pure party, overflowing joy, and genuine celebration. But for Donna Elsa, sitting there in that hard chair, everything seemed to be happening in another dimension, distant, blurred. As if she were watching it on television with muffled sound, as if it weren't real, a nightmare from which she would soon wake up. She stared intently at the main table, where Raphael and Camilla sat side by side like king and queen. They chatted animatedly with the godparents. They laughed at jokes she didn't hear. They toasted repeatedly with French champagne. Raphael seemed genuinely happy, radiant, fulfilled. And she desperately wanted to cling to that. She wanted to believe that, at least, he was happy. That all of this, all the pain, all the humiliation, all the sacrifice was worth it if he was happy. Every now and then, every 5 or 10 minutes, Raphael would glance quickly in her direction. And when their eyes met for a second, he would give a shy, awkward, guilt-ridden little smile. But he wouldn't go over there. He wouldn't get up from his chair. He wouldn't cross the enormous hall to gently pull his mother by the hand and bring her closer. He did absolutely nothing to change the situation. And Donna Elsa, with her broken but still loving heart, understood, or desperately tried to understand. It was his day, the most important day. He was busy. He literally had hundreds of people to greet. So many important company guests, so many special moments to experience, to record, to keep in his memory. And she, well, she could wait. She always could. She always waited. She could stay there quietly, invisible, without bothering anyone. Dinner was served with pomp. Absolutely elegant dishes worthy of a five-star restaurant. A sophisticated appetizer, an elaborate main course, a French dessert. Everything impeccable, beautifully presented. The guests effusively praised the exquisite food. They took photos of the dishes before eating. They immediately posted them on social media with wedding hashtags. Donna Elsa looked emotionlessly at the plate placed before her. She picked up the heavy fork. She ate a little, mechanically, out of obligation, but she felt no taste at all. Absolutely none. Everything seemed bland, tasteless, lifeless, meaningless. As she chewed listlessly, painful memories came uninvited, invading her mind, of little Raphael sitting at the low table in the simple kitchen, eating white rice with a fried egg. Sometimes that was all there was. Enthusiastically asking for seconds, "Mom," even though it was simple food. Saying with that egg-stained little mouth that his mother's food was the best in the whole world. She smiled sadly, her eyes dangerously welling up with tears. Where was that sweet boy? The boy who hugged her tightly without shame and said "I love you, Mom" before going to sleep every night. He grew up, he became a grown man, and now he had his own life, completely separate. A beautiful wife, a promising future, grand ambitions. And her, she was the uncomfortable past. The part that inevitably gets left behind. The memory that is visited sporadically from time to time out of obligation, but is no longer a real part of everyday life. The dance floor was completely packed. Couples of all ages danced enthusiastically. Young friends jumped for joy. Small children ran wildly between the tables, shouting and laughing. Everything was pure movement, deafening sound, overflowing energy. And Donna Elsa was completely still, like a large stone forgotten in the middle of a rushing river. The water flows swiftly. Life passes quickly, and the stone simply remains, motionless, gradually forgotten. At a particularly exciting moment, the enthusiastic DJ announced into the microphone, "And now, the moment that absolutely everyone has been eagerly waiting for. The beautiful bride is going to throw the bouquet." The single women excitedly rushed to the main dance floor. Loud laughter, playful shoving, contagious excitement, anticipation in the air. Camila gracefully climbed onto a golden chair, dramatically turned her back, and forcefully threw the expensive bouquet into the air. One of the bridesmaids caught it. Deafening shouts of joy, enthusiastic applause. Hundreds of photos taken simultaneously. Donna Elsa clapped slowly, alone, with a sad smile on her wrinkled face. Then it was Raphael's turn, as expected, to play the traditional game of tag. More loud laughter, more typical jokes. And then, passionately, he gently pulled Camila to the very center of the dance floor. The music slowed dramatically, romantic, perfect. They danced closely, lost in their own world. He spun her gently. She smiled, lovingly. Everyone around them took photos incessantly. They recorded emotional videos. It was the absolutely perfect moment, worthy of a romantic movie. Donna Elsa watched it all from afar. Thick tears slowly streamed down her wrinkled face. Tears she quickly wiped away with her napkin, before anyone could see and ask questions. Because she didn't want to spoil anything. She didn't want to attract negative attention. She didn't want anyone to feel sorry for her. She didn't want anyone to feel embarrassed. She genuinely just wanted to see her son happy, and he was visibly happy. And that, in some completely twisted and absurdly painful way, had to be enough. It had to suffice. When the romantic dance ended, there was enthusiastic applause from everyone. And Donna Elsa applauded too, slowly, with her hands visibly trembling. With her heart completely broken into 1,000 pieces. But she applauded. Because that's exactly what mothers do. It's applauding even when it hurts deeply. It's smiling even with tears streaming down your face. It's staying. It's remaining, even when there's absolutely no place for you. At that lonely table, number 17, she ate pure solitude and nostalgically remembered the taste of love. The party was in full swing. It was already past 10 o'clock at night. The clock was ticking. Many of the older guests had already gone home. Others were scattered around the hall in small groups, chatting quietly, sipping their last drinks, enjoying the final moments. Donna Elsa seriously considered leaving right then and there. After all, no one would really miss her. No one would notice her absence. She had already seen her son radiant and happy. She had religiously fulfilled her role as a present mother. She could go home peacefully, cry copiously into her old pillow, and leave it all behind. Try to forget the humiliation. But then, unexpectedly, the DJ turned down the music, and the elegant master of ceremonies stepped onto the brightly lit stage with a silver microphone in his hand. Good evening to everyone present. Before we officially conclude this absolutely wonderful and unforgettable evening, I would like to offer a very, very special thank you. The scattered guests turned around, curious. They paid attention. They stopped their conversations. Raphael and Camila also looked at the stage, curious about what would be said. The master of ceremonies continued in a solemn voice. You all know perfectly well that a wedding of this size, of this magnitude, of this breathtaking beauty, doesn't simply happen by chance. It doesn't happen without a lot of effort, without meticulous planning, without dedication, and above all, without a significant financial investment. And today, at this moment, I have the honor and privilege of publicly thanking, in front of all of you, the extraordinary person who made absolutely all of this possible. Camila smiled automatically. She adjusted her perfectly styled hair with her hand. She straightened her posture. She was absolutely certain that they would hear her and her husband's names being praised. After all, it was their wedding. It was more than fair that they be publicly recognized for their effort. But the master of ceremonies looked intently at the paper he was holding, and he said, extremely loudly and absolutely clearly, so that everyone could hear perfectly, a truly special thank you. From the bottom of my heart, to Mrs. Elsa Santos, the groom's devoted mother, who with all her unconditional love and extraordinary generosity financed every detail of this dazzling celebration. The beautiful flowers, the impeccable decoration, the delicious food, the wonderful music, absolutely everything. All of this was possible solely and exclusively thanks to her, to her sacrifice, to her motherly love. The entire room instantly fell silent. It was exactly as if someone had brutally pressed an invisible pause button in the universe. Conversations stopped abruptly, mid-sentence. Glasses froze, suspended in midair. Movement ceased. The gazes of absolutely everyone turned simultaneously, searching. Donna Elsa froze completely. She hadn't expected that at all. The wedding planner shouldn't have revealed anything. She had expressly requested total discretion, complete anonymity. But, for some mysterious reason, perhaps a human error, perhaps a conscious act of divine justice, he revealed it publicly. Camila visibly paled. She turned as white as a sheet. The studied smile vanished instantly from her face like dissipating smoke. She looked at her husband beside her, completely incredulous, speechless. Raphael was equally pale, shocked. He looked desperately at his distant mother, and then, for the first time all night, he truly saw her. He truly understood what he had done. The guests began to murmur amongst themselves. Some turned completely to look curiously at table 17 in the distance, where Donna Elsa was alone. Others commented quietly, visibly surprised, impressed, shocked. His mother paid for absolutely everything. And she's sitting alone at the back of the hall. My God, what an embarrassing situation. ... That's absurd. The master of ceremonies, clearly perceiving the extremely tense atmosphere that had settled in, tried to quickly diffuse it. So, let's all give Mrs. Elsa a warm round of applause. A truly extraordinary mother. An incredible woman. and he began to clap. Slowly at first, awkwardly. Some of the closest guests hesitantly joined him, initially weak clapping, spaced out, but gradually it grew, spreading, echoing throughout the entire hall like deafening thunder. Donna Elsa didn't know what to do at all. Literally, everyone was looking directly at her now. She who had spent the entire night completely invisible, totally forgotten, was now under the relentless spotlight. Literally. Because someone from the production had purposefully pointed a powerful spotlight in her direction, illuminating her like an actress on stage. She stood up slowly. With all the dignity she had left, she adjusted her simple navy blue dress, gently wiped away the stubborn tears that insisted on falling without stopping. She took a deep breath and looked directly at her son. Raphael was now standing completely upright. He looked at his mother, his eyes visibly filled with tears. Deep shame was painfully etched on his face. Overwhelming guilt, belated but sincere regret. He took a trembling step towards her. He wanted to go there. He wanted to hug her. But he couldn't go any further. His legs simply wouldn't obey his brain's commands. His voice wouldn't come out of his constricted throat. Camila remained completely still, like a statue, pale as a ghost, deeply embarrassed. She desperately wanted to disappear. She wanted the earth to literally open up and swallow her whole. Because now, absolutely everyone knew the truth. The party she was so proud of. The party she had obsessively planned down to the smallest detail for months. The party she shamelessly used to impress her envious friends, her demanding family, her competitive coworkers, had been entirely paid for by her humble mother-in-law, by the simple woman she had cruelly humiliated, by the woman she had disrespectfully sent to the back of the hall like trash. Donna Elsa took another deep breath. She filled her lungs, and she spoke. Not loudly, not with anger or resentment, but with absolute calm, a profound serenity that literally broke the hearts of absolutely everyone who heard it. I just wanted to see my boy happy. That's all I wanted. That's all. Now I can go in peace. And she began to walk. Slowly, she crossed the entire hall. She calmly passed between the decorated tables. She passed the embarrassed guests, who automatically moved aside to respectfully make way. She passed her son, who desperately tried to hold her hand but couldn't. She gently pulled away. She passed her petrified daughter-in-law, who lowered her head completely, physically unable to look her directly in the eyes. And he left, dignified, emotional but composed, with her head held high, proudly, leaving absolutely everyone in a deathly silence behind her. Because sometimes, true justice doesn't come with desperate cries, it comes with eloquent silence, with stark, naked truth, with unwavering dignity. 3 long days passed slowly. Donna Elsa returned home, to her refuge, to her old worn-out sofa, to her small, cramped kitchen, to her simple, familiar routine. But something fundamental had profoundly changed within her. She was no longer devastatingly sad. She was at peace. A strange but real peace. Because she had said exactly what needed to be said. Not with aggressive or offensive words. Not with destructive resentment. But with pure and simple truth. And the truth, in itself, was more than enough. On the warm afternoon of the 3rd day, there was a persistent knock at the door. She opened it slowly, and there was Raphael. He was absolutely not well. His eyes were completely swollen from crying so much. His face was visibly worn out. His clothes were wrinkled. He had no beard. It clearly looked like he hadn't slept or eaten properly since the wedding. "Mom," he began, his voice trembling, but it completely failed him, and he broke down in desperate tears. Right there, at the door, like a lost child. Donna Elsa didn't hesitate for a second. She opened her arms maternally and pulled him inside forcefully. He clung to her exactly as he had when he was a small child, sobbing loudly and begging forgiveness between broken, poorly articulated words. "I'm a terrible coward, Mom. A coward. I left you completely alone. I let you be cruelly humiliated. And you gave absolutely everything for me. Everything." She gently stroked his hair. She felt a painful tightening in her chest. But she didn't cry. She had already cried too much in the last few days. Sit here with me, son. Let's talk calmly. They sat at the same table where, months before, she had excitedly handed over the yellowed envelopes containing money. Raphael wiped his wet face with trembling hands, and she waited patiently. I absolutely don't know what to say, Mom. I completely messed everything up. Camila is devastated, destroyed. She hasn't left her room since the wedding. The guests have been talking about it. Everyone saw exactly what happened. The whole family is talking about it. And I didn't defend you. When you needed me most urgently, I cowardly stayed silent. Dona Elsa held her son's hand tightly, and she looked deep, profoundly into his eyes. Raphael, listen carefully to what I'm going to tell you. I didn't want anyone to thank me publicly, son. I never wanted that. I didn't pay for that whole party expecting applause or recognition. I paid simply because I love you unconditionally. Because I desperately wanted to see you happy, but I just didn't want to be completely forgotten, not to be invisible, not to be humiliated on the happiest day of your life. That's all. He squeezed his mother's hand tightly, and cried even harder. I will never, ever forget you, Mom. Never again. I messed up terribly. Camila messed up too. And I will honestly spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it somehow. Donna Elsa smiled. A small, restrained smile, but genuine and sincere. You don't need to compensate me financially, son. It's not about money. You just need to truly respect me. Include me in things. Make me genuinely feel that I still have a real place in your life. Even if you've built a new family now. Even if your wife is naturally your priority. I understand that perfectly. I accept that. I just don't want to be invisible, that's all. Raphael nodded emphatically, and he hugged his mother again. This time, a completely different hug. A hug from someone who truly understood deeply. From someone who truly saw clearly. I love you so much, Mom. So very much, and I'm going to fix this. I solemnly promise. She kissed his forehead tenderly, just like she did automatically when he was little. I know, my dear son, I know. They stayed there for hours, talking openly, reminiscing about good times, healing open wounds. And when Raphael finally left, he was visibly lighter. Not everything was absolutely resolved, but it was a promising start. Camila didn't go that day. She still didn't have the courage to face her mother-in-law, but Raphael firmly promised that this would change, that they would sit down together, talk honestly, rebuild their relationship, and Dona Elsa believed. Because a mother's love is exactly like that. It waits patiently. It believes firmly. It forgives generously. But now, he also demands respect. And that changed everything. How many mothers have paid for parties where they weren't even remembered? How many extraordinary women, just like Donna Elsa, gave absolutely everything their entire lives, their daily sweat, their personal dreams just to see their children genuinely happy, and in the end were cruelly sidelined, forgotten like old furniture, ignored as irrelevant details, treated like antique furniture pieces that no longer harmoniously match the modern decor of the new life their children have built. The touching story of Donna Elsa is not just her own, it's the story of literally thousands, perhaps millions of mothers across Brazil, all over the world. Warrior mothers who raised children completely alone, who consciously gave up their own promising futures to guarantee, with sacrifice, the bright future of those they love unconditionally, who worked tirelessly until their bones ached chronically, who religiously saved every penny, who gave up absolutely everything, expecting nothing in return. But do you know exactly what these extraordinary mothers truly deserve? Not effusive applause, not lavish parties in their honor, not ostentatious public recognition. They deserve something much simpler, and at the same time much rarer these days. Genuine respect. Respect is consciously remembering to invite her to the main table, not to the forgotten table in the back. Respect is introducing her with legitimate pride to new friends, not hiding her in shame. Respect is calling regularly, not just when you urgently need something, but simply because you truly miss her. Respect is not cowardly allowing anyone, not even those you love deeply, to treat her with unacceptable contempt. Donna Elsa didn't need the master of ceremonies to publicly reveal what she had done. She genuinely didn't want the spotlight. She didn't want to be a celebrated heroine. She just wanted to be close. She just wanted to be seen. She just wanted to feel that she still mattered, that she still had value. And when she was finally seen, when the truth came to light, she didn't seek cruel revenge. She didn't rub it in anyone's face. She didn't gleefully humiliate anyone back. She simply walked away, with her head proudly held high, with unwavering dignity. Because that's exactly what truly strong women do. They don't need to scream desperately to be heard. They don't need to fight violently to be felt. They simply are. And that, in itself, is absolutely revolutionary. If you have a mother, a grandmother, an aunt, a godmother, someone special who raised you with love, loved you unconditionally, and concretely helped you become exactly who you are today, don't wait for a distant wedding. Don't wait for a future celebration. Don't wait for a special date marked on the calendar. Call her today, right now. Tell her you remember her fondly. Tell her you are deeply grateful. Tell her sincerely that she matters, that she always has, that she always will matter. Because one day, unfortunately, it may be too late, irreversibly too late, and you will painfully remember her sitting completely alone at a cold table in the back, invisible, forgotten, humiliated, and you will carry that crushing weight, that corrosive guilt, for the rest of your life. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can change that afterwards. Don't let this happen to you. Don't allow it. This touching story is a heartfelt tribute to all mothers who love in profound silence, who pay for expensive parties without even being remembered, who cry alone in the dark, but bravely continue smiling at their children, who give everything, expecting nothing in return. Because that's exactly what a mother's love is, unconditional, unwavering, eternal. If this story deeply touched you, if you felt something in your heart, leave a sincere comment telling us, have you ever been through something similar? Do you know someone close to you who has experienced this? Share it with us. Let's transform this pain into valuable learning. Let's transform this story into real change. Enjoy this video. Follow the channel for more stories, and share it with someone who really needs to hear this urgently. Because every mother deserves to be applauded, especially at parties where she was forgotten. A warm hug, and always remember, it's never too late to say thank you to those who gave you absolutely everything.